Wow. What the fuck was that? I am laughing at all the people who last week said that, oh, they did the Fall of Reach. This season's gonna be so good. We're just getting started. Episode 4 redeemed the show. Listen. Okay. I normally like to put... Okay, this is going to sound weird. I normally like to put more effort into these reviews, but after that episode, nah, we're just going for like an unscripted rant type video here. Holy crap. So, episode 4, the one last week, the one that somehow gained a lot of goodwill. I don't know how. The start of the Fall of the Reach. Yeah, that's all gone. Any goodwill they burnt with that, they built up with that, is now gone. It is destroyed. It is glassed like Reach. Speaking of glassing of Reach, remember how this whole season was promoted as like it's going to be telling the Fall of Reach? We're going to get the Silver Timeline's Fall of the Reach. Well, we got it. Off screen. I am not joking. It happened off screen. Okay, so the episode starts pretty much continuing right where the last episode left off. They're still being attacked, and don't worry, the mighty Quan is there to save the day. And I gotta give a shout out to my boy John Connors, who does the streams with us. He didn't spoil the episode, but he told me this has one of the most Gale Boss moments to ever Gale Boss. And that's selling it short. Quan? Oh, man. Remember a few episodes ago on the review when I said, this Silver Timeline doesn't need Spartans, all they need is Quan? Yeah, I was 100% right. Okay, so one thing I did like was, we got a Brute, a Gilhani, and he looked fine, he looked cool, but the way they killed him off was... shit, no other way around it. A bit of a cop-out in all honesty. Yeah, so this whole thing happened... Well, this whole battle happened off screen. So we go from the start of the episode, and then there's like I think they say like a 2-day jump or something like that. So, and then when Chief wakes up, Halsey's talking about how it's over, you know, Reach has fallen. So the whole Fall of Reach is off screen. We get Mackie, and that new character, that new elite character, that is the Arbiter. They directly refer to him as the Arbiter.
This is the command vessel of the esteemed Zealot Vargatanai, former Supreme Commander of the First Fleet of Solemn Accord. The Arbiter.
Okay, and I remember saying this a while ago, if they do have a new Arbiter in this timeline, which they do, we have no reason to care for them, because the point of an Arbiter is, at this stage, the Arbiter is a signal of the ultimate disgrace. Like, you are scum, you are bottom of the barrel in their culture. You've been given the role of Arbiter to go on suicide missions in order to regain some type of honor, because you'll still be furthering the advances of the Covenant and the Prophets. So you're going to die, and you're actually going to do something to help with the cause so you regain some honor.
What would you have your Arbiter do?
Whereas in Halo 2, we get that with Velvet Arm, and like the story is absolutely incredible. But in this, we get some brand new character that no one's ever heard of because they were made up for the Silver Timeline, and they're automatically the Arbiter. So we're just, and he even talks about, you know, trying to get redemption, you know, regain his honor. And we're like, but we don't know what you did. We don't know what your great fuck up was to become the Arbiter. And the Arbiter armor, it looks shit. It looks shit. What the fuck even is that? So speaking of the Arbiter, he has this conversation. Well, his whole thing in this episode was he's talking with Mackie, and he has this point where he was like, hey, if I was able to actually kill the demon, the Master Chief, that would have gone really far for me to get my honor back. And let's not forget, in the last episode, he has Cheeks on the ground, dead to rights, energy sword above him, coming down, swinging at him, and Mackie comes and going, stop, stop, stop. If it's such a big deal to this Arbiter to kill the Master Chief, why does he listen to her? He even calls her out on it. He goes, hey, I'm the only reason you're still alive. I'll kill you at any moment if you keep pissing me off. And what does she do? Talk down to him, crush him, and all that type of stuff, just to belittle him. And So she has Cortana, right? Okay, anyway, there's this whole other conversation with Cortana and Mackie, and it's pretty awkward. It's like, they're talking about Master Chief, and Mackie's like, what do you feel? What do you mean to the Chief? What are you to him? And she's like, oh, I'm the AI that watched you two have sex. Is that what you mean? Anyway, it's very bizarre. But then they start talking about the Halo ring and how they all want to get to the Halos. There's a little side tangent on that we will get to. But anyway, keeping it with Mackie and this Arbiter for now, she convinces the Arbiter that they should ditch the Covenant, screw over the Hierarchs, the Prophets, and go find the Halo themselves because she is a Blessed One, which is a thing they've created in this timeline. Because in this timeline, it's like humans aren't Reclaimers. Reclaimers aren't even a thing in this. It's only like certain people can do stuff with Forerunner technology. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall if they've ever actually referred to them as the Forerunners, but we're just going to call it the Forerunners just for the sake of simplicity. So only these Blessed Ones can interact with Forerunner objects, and we know that Cheeks is one, Mackie's one, and honestly probably Quan as well, so there's your trifecta right there. So anyway, Mackie convinces this Arbiter, fuck the Covenant, we're going to go to the Halo Rings ourselves. Pretty easy to convince him. All she had to do was show him this hologram image of the Halo ring. So we kind of see a Halo ring, sort of. Oh, Jacob Key's dead. He's dead. I know some people were expecting like a cop-out. Nah, he dead. Well, at least they didn't confirm that he was still alive. To me, it looks like he's dead because, you know, there's the whole time jump and all that type of shit. So that you got that whole Arbiter Mackie thing going on, and like one of the best parts of Halo 2 was seeing more of the Covenant. And from their perspective, we started to get that, and then it just took a hard left turn. Okay, so anyway, Chief is with Quan, Halsey, Kai, Soren. Oh, Soren's whole part of this episode is going on a side quest with his wife to try and find his son, which they don't actually end up accomplishing. Turns out the UNSC has him. Yeah, so while we could have been having the Fall of Reach, like this season was advertised to be, instead it's a side quest. This is a filler episode. We're on episode 5 of, what, an 8-9 episode season, and we have a filler episode. Now, you think that's bad enough? I want you to remember that the last episode was the invasion of Reach. We go from the invasion of Reach to a filler episode, which completely brushes over the fact that Reach has already fallen, okay? One of the most biggest plot points in the entire Halo story is the fall of Reach. And we're just doing it off screen. Whatever. Peace! Anyway, so yeah, that's Soren's whole point of this thing, man. What's going on else, man? So yeah, like I said, unscripted rant as opposed to the normal reviews. But this episode was shit. It truly was, and I know this show sucks, but this is this is the worst episode, okay? Even I will admit that the last episode was the best episode. I still don't think it was a good episode, but it was the best episode. But this one has got to be the worst. It's got to be the worst of the 2 seasons, at least so far. So, Master Chief, he's bagging out with Halsey. They're kind of arguing the whole time. They go on to bury Vanek. Well, he doesn't really want to, but Quan ends up going to do this burial for him, and Master Cheeks and Kai and Halsey and all that rock up. And so do a whole bunch of mystics. It just seems like on every planet in the outer colonies, there's mystics and shamans. I have no problem with, them existing in this universe. It's a huge universe. But all of a sudden, they live on every single outer colony planet. This whole thing is just done so Quan can have this moment where she has this weird trippy vision, and she has like a vision of like one of the shamans or mystics, whatever you want to call them, from, I think she was in season 1, I think. And she's going like, oh, you abandoned Madrigal and all that type of stuff. And I'm thinking like, listen, her outpost got attacked by the Covenant. It's not like she just packed up and left. I mean, and then there was the whole UNSC situation that went down there. So anyway, she's talking about how like those monsters that you fear are coming, and there's a flashback to the first episode of this season when she's in the cave with the paintings. I don't know. I really don't know what this is referring to. Is it the flood, the Covenant? I don't know. I don't know. Kai's written out of this episode. She's too injured to continue, so she's just going to stay there, I guess. So we have No, Riz. That's Riz. Sorry. Oh, man, I'm mixing them up, man. Just Fred, Lender, and Kelly. Come on, man. But anyway, so she stays on the planet because she's too injured to continue going on their space adventures, because that's what this is now. And she even leaves her dog tags there. Master Chief is coming for Oni. Okay, don't worry about the Covenant. The main villains, which everyone predicted, the main antagonist of this season is Ackerson. Ackerson and Paranosky are the two main antagonists of this whole season. Don't worry about the Covenant. Forget about them. They're just kind of like a little side thing that's going on, you know, over there, doing their own thing, killing everyone, wiping out humanity. The actual human Covenant war. Just a little side thing in this one. Again, the Fall of Reach was off-screen. Munted. Absolutely munted. Yeah, so then that brings us to Kai, who is on Onyx with Ackerson, and that's when we see the Spartan freeze, and they do that whole, you know, Grand Army of the Republic type thing when they're all like clone troopers and all that type of shit. Man, this episode was just god-awful. Truly, truly god-awful. Like, the best way to describe it is any goodwill they had from the last episode was pissed away in this one. John Connors was right. This is the most girl boss moment I've seen in a long ass time. I am not joking when I say this rivals Rey from the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. This rivals that. In some ways, it probably actually passes it with Quan in terms of girl bossness. We're 2 episodes in a row where there's no Spartan armor. This time on season 1, we were freaking out going, can you just keep the fucking helmet on? And now it's 2 episodes in a row of no Spartan armor. The Fall of Reach, I gotta say this again, the Fall of Reach was off screen. Oh man. So the Arbiter in this one's an idiot. He's basically going to have the whole Covenant coming after him because they got called back to High Charity because they failed in that. Well, the Arbiter says they failed in their mission to retrieve the Keystones and kill the demon, but I'm like, but you just destroyed Reach, so surely that's something, right? Nah. But anyway, Mackie, like I said, convinces him to dip, so they're heading off to a Halo ring. How they know where a Halo ring is, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Mackie knows. I am dumbstruck with every decision they make, especially in this episode. This episode, in a way, perfectly captures what this show has been, with how bad it is, with just the decisions they make that make no sense. I mean, from a plot perspective, it's just atrociously bad. We're beyond the stage of it just being a bad Halo show. I think that argument is done. As a Halo show, it's terrible. Awful. Okay? Pathetic. But just as a show that follows its own continuity and its own timeline and its own sequence of events, it's just stupid. So stupid. They're not even trying. Listen, I have not seen anything this bad on screen in a long time. Like I said, I normally like to sit down and edit these videos and do all that type of stuff, but I don't even know if I'm even gonna fucking bother doing too much editing to this one, man. It's just that shit. It truly is just that shit. The live stream's gonna be fun though, so check that out. To the people out there that have been enjoying the reviews, you know, with the more edited and stuff like that, I apologize, but fuck, man. If you saw the episode, you would know. You would know. I mean, most of you haven't seen the episode and you can still imagine how bad it is. I want you to imagine how bad it is and fucking Kaioken times 20 that, because it sucked ass.